Hello. Today we are going to talk about what does it mean to be a missionary. This is one of our formations before we go to our mission trip in Tijuana. So first of all, what is the Catholic Church calling us to? I think the Catholic Church is calling us to three things. Number one is to celebrate. Number two is to evangelize. And number three is to do charitable works. Now, let's think about celebrate, to celebrate. What it means to celebrate is basically to come together and celebrate that Jesus Christ is alive. And for this, the Catholic Church has given us some sacraments. And we have the sacraments of the baptism, confirmation, Eucharist, anointing of the sick, reconciliation, marriage, and holy orders. Now, what is interesting, and the one that I would like to talk about a little bit more, is about the sacrament of the Eucharist, which means thanksgiving. That means that every time we go to Mass, we're basically thanking God for everything that He has given to us. Now, this is what is celebrate. Now, let's talk about what it means to evangelize. To evangelize, in an easy way to explain, is to bring Christ to others. That means that we can bring Christ to the people who need the most. Now, what is interesting is that we also have some people who already know about Christ, but then they don't really have that relationship with Him, that relationship that will help them to become a better human beings. And then is when we talk about re-evangelization, which means to help young people or anybody to develop their relationship with Christ in a deeper way. So now, once we have talked about to celebrate and to evangelize, I want to talk about to be charitable. And what we mean by this is to basically follow Jesus' example, to be able to be there for the people who need the most, to be able to do something that we never imagined, to be able to help people who are in need. And for this, the Bible in Matthew 25:31-46, it talks about it. When it says, "When have I seen you hungry and I didn't feed you? Or naked and I didn't clothe you?" And then Jesus Christ will say, "Every time that you didn't do for one of those of my people, you didn't do it for me." And I think it's a beautiful way that we are talking about evangelization, is being with them, to celebrate, to be charitable, to help people to be different, to do different things. Now, once we understand that we are called to do these three things, I want to talk about some missionary paradigm. What it means, a paradigm. Paradigm is a way how we see things. That doesn't mean that this way how we see things is right or wrong. But there is some paradigms that I think is important for us to clarify. Paradigm number one is, I am going to change these people. First of all, you are not going to the missions to change anyone. You are not going to the missions to do things that you never imagined. You're going to the missions just to share who you are with people that is less fortunate than you are. Number two is, I'm going to teach them about God. I don't think we're going to teach anyone about God. And I think the best way to teach who God is basically by example. Being there, accompany these people, accompany the people who we're visiting. And the third paradigm is, I'm going to build something for them. And many of us in our North American culture or way of seeing things, if we don't see that we have built something, it's not good. We haven't done anything. But we don't realize that many times we are building things in our hearts and in the hearts of the people that we are visiting. So I think these three paradigms, we need to get them out of our minds. We need to get rid of them. Now, a missionary is, number one, someone who is sent on a mission, someone who is sent to do something. In this case, we are going to go to a short mission trip. And what is God sending us for? God is sending us because we want to share time with the people that are with us. The missionary is also someone who is going to share God's love. And how can we serve God's love? Is basically serving them, being able to be mindful, helping them, be able to be proactive. If someone needs a help, to give a hand. If someone needs something to do it. If something needs to be done, just do it. Get out of our comfort zone and just be there to serve people who are in need. And the next one is someone who knows how to adapt to the reality that is experiencing. Many times we are going to see things that we may not like. Many times we are going to be doing things that we may not like. But the idea is, how can we adapt to that reality? And not only that, but experience and have fun and love what they are doing. There are people who live in that way. There are people who live in things or in moments that we don't even imagine. So how can we love those moments? How can we say, God, if you have put me here for something, I want to do it the best that I can. And the most important thing is someone who can love. Someone who can love, who can be in love with people, who can do things that you never imagined. That is something that is super important. Someone who can love. And I think all this has to come from something. And I learned this concept many years ago. But a couple weeks ago, when I had the opportunity to be with one of our priests who is a missionary, it came back to my life, which is gratuity. We do all these kind of things because it's a way to give thanks to God for all the gifts that He has given to us, all the things that we have. So how can we give thanks to God? And the best way to give thanks to God is to actually do something for the people who are most in need, and to be able to help out, to be able to get out of our comfort zone, to be able to show who God is. And that is what we are all about. We are missionaries who want to transform this society. Now, there are some questions that I want you to reflect. Question number one is, explain what you believe the role of a missionary is. So that's the question number one, is what you believe the role of a missionary is. And if you have been hearing this presentation, this online formation, you will find this question really amazing, because you will learn and you will know who a missionary is. The question number two is, would you consider yourself to be a missionary? Why or why not? And I think it's important to see, are you a missionary? And in the way how we see it, maybe the answer is yes. So why? Why are you a missionary? And number three, this is a quote that I came across reading a couple years ago. And it says, you can't have Christ without His church. You can't have a king without His kingdom. As Christians, can we be missionaries without following Christ? And I would like you to elaborate a little bit about this reflection. Thank you. Thank you so much for being part of this formation. Thank you so much for saying yes, and to say yes to become agents of transformation in this society. We need more people like you who are willing to get out of their comfort zone and do something for people who are in need. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this formation class.